Hello again, my fellow Jeti users. Welcome back to my workshop for another little video. And in this one, Nicholas has written asking that the transmitter speaks out an alarm at a particular milliamp hours consumed from his drive battery, and that once it's done that, it continues to speak out the announcement every 20 seconds thereafter. Now, fortunately, this is pretty straightforward because Jeti has built in a repeat call out for telemetry values into the software. And we just need to make use of that by finding the appropriate switch and then setting what we want repeated. And today I'm going to be assisted by my Hanopretner Curari. There it is, ready to go. Little battery hooked up. And we can see from the Jeti MUI sensor, we've got things like our voltage, current, and capacity readouts. Okay, well, let's get it set up. Let's set up the switch, which will be a telemetry switch. So we go to Advanced Properties, Telemetry Controls, in here, enable it, come down, choose our sensor, and it's going to be capacity. Type of control will be a switch. We don't want some sort of proportional thing, we just want it to be on-off, so that's a switch. And the condition will be X is greater than the capacity at which we want to trigger this whole sequence. So X is greater than, not X is equal to, because there's only going to be a brief moment when the capacity is equal to that value. And after that, it's going to go, of course, to higher and higher values. And so the switch will just go off again. So X is greater than, and then come along here and set the number of milliamp hours that you want. Now, Nicholas has requested something like 2,500 milliamp hours. The fast way to get there, having activated it, it'll take 1 milliamp hour per click of the dial, which will take you a long time to get up to 2,500, 3,500. So press the menu button, pressed again, you get thousands. There's 3. Go to the hundreds, 3.5, for example. 2.5, 5,000, whatever you're after. But to save time in the video, you don't want to sit here or have me have to pause and restart while we get up to 3,500. I'll set this down to just a small amount for us to get started with. Oops, wrong buttons. We'll go for 15 milliamp hours as the trigger. So once we've consumed 15 milliamp hours, or greater than 15 milliamp hours, it will set the switch. What if we wanted the switch to be at 15? Well, then we have to go to 14 because it's X is greater than the value here. So if we set it to X is greater than 15, well, it'll have to wait until it gets to 16 milliamp hours. Then it'll read out 16 milliamp hours, and then every so many seconds after that. So we set it to 1 less than the one we want. If you want the readout to be at 2,500 milliamp hours and keep going, then you would say condition X is greater than 2,499 milliamp hours. If you just wanted a single readout at 2,500 milliamp hours, then you could set it to X is equal to 2,500. When it gets there, it'll do its readout. The switch will go off after that, which would be fine. That's what you want. Okay, so we've set that. I'll come down here, duration. We don't need to set any duration in this because this is about the switch itself. And I'm going to set the default. I'm going to force it so that the computer is in no doubt that the default is off. It will also then default to off should you have a telemetry dropout for any reason. So that's set our telemetry control. It'll read the capacity. It's going to act as an on-off switch. And once it's gone greater than 14 milliamp hours, it will come on and it will stay on because, of course, capacity will just keep going up and continue to be greater than X. Okie doke. And then we go to timer sensors, voice output, and here's what we're going to use. They repeat every so many seconds. Nicholas had asked for 20. There's 20 seconds. For the sake of the video, to save you having to sit through too much, I'll set it down to every 7 seconds. The switch is going to be, of course, press the plus button, that telemetry control we've just created. I didn't bother naming it, but you might like to give it a name if you have several of them. So that's the repeat switch is going to be going. What's it going to repeat? Well, we come down to sensors and variables, down to capacity. There's what's going to be on the repeat switch. There's what's on the trigger switch. As you can see, I've already got my trigger switch set to read out current and capacity. So if I pull that.
Current 0 amps. Capacity 1 milliamp hour.
But Jeti won't mind if I set it to the repeat as well. So capacity, repeat. Okay. Okay. So there we go. At greater than 14, in other words, when that gets to 15 milliamp hours, it should read out 15 milliamp hours. And if I leave the motor running, then every, what did we set it to, 7 or 8 seconds, it will read out the latest value. So let's kick off the motor.
Warning. Throttle lock is off.
And see what happens.
Capacity 15 milliamp hours. Capacity 20 milliamp hours. Capacity 25 milliamp hours. Capacity 31 milliamp hours. Capacity 36 milliamp hours.
And there you go. And by the way, it's going to carry on now.
Capacity 38 milliamp hours.
So there you go. That's how to get it all set up.